Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. Happy July 4th. I hope you'll have a wonderful Shabbos, whether you're here in Brookline or if you are away on vacation or traveling. This week's Erev Shabbos video Dvar Torah is sponsored by Dr. David Lieberman with brachos for Sason V'Simcha Umoadim Tovim Levesis Yehuda, speedily and in our days, referencing Chazal that the fast days, the days of mourning, should be turned into days of celebration for the Jewish people, and we hope that we will merit to see that speedily in our days, as the sponsorship states, and we thank Dr. Lieberman for the sponsorship. As always, we also take a moment as we go into Shabbos to daven, and this Shabbos and the week ahead should be one in which Hashem protects the Jewish people and blesses us all. In this week's Parsha, Parshas Pinchas, Hashem informs Moshe for the first time that he will not be entering the land of Israel. He tells him to go up to Har Ha'avarim and to see the land of Israel, to look at it, but you will not go there. For like Aaron, he tells him that you will die in the wilderness. And in our Parsha this week, Moshe's response to this is to immediately think of the Jewish people. And he turns to Hashem and he says, Hashem, well, if I'm not going to be here, if I'm not going to be the leader of the Jewish people, then you must appoint a leader. Hashem, even though he says Moshe will not be taking them into the land of Israel, he hasn't made any preparations or any other plan, at least that we know of, for a leader. And Moshe says to Hashem, Vaydaber Moshe el Hashem lemor, Yifkod Hashem Elokei Haruchos L'chol Basar Ish Al Ha'ida. You, Hashem, the Lord, the God of the spirits of all flesh, of all souls, you must appoint a leader upon the congregation. V'lotia Adas Hashem Kason Asher Ein Lahem Roah. Do not let them be like a flock without a shepherd. Moshe Rabbeinu is worried. What's going to happen after he dies? Moshe Rabbeinu knows, even if he is the humblest man ever to live, to know that once he would die, Moshe Rabbeinu was irreplaceable. No one ever would be like Moshe Rabbeinu. There would be a leadership vacuum. There could be fights. There could be rebellions. The people could break up into 12 different tribes. What would keep them together? Who would be able to hold them as one unified nation? Moshe refers to Hashem as Hashem Elokei Haruchos L'chol Basar, the God of all the spirits of all flesh. This unique phrase and way to describe Hashem, Moshe Rabbeinu only uses one other time, and that is in the story of Korach. Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu, get away from them, I'm destroying them all. And Moshe Rabbeinu, Hashem says, El Elokei Haruchos L'chol Basar. Hashem, you are the God of all souls. Ish Yachatav Al Kol Hayda Yiksof. If one person or a small group sins, will you destroy the entire people? Without getting into the details of the specifics of this meaning, but this name of Hashem, Moshe Rabbeinu only used once before in the great tumult of Korach, and that is on his mind right now. He's thinking about that. He's reliving that. What's going to happen after I die? Even when I was alive, I could barely hold the people together. There were rebellions against me. What will happen after I'm gone? You must appoint some leader, Hashem, who will be able to be the shepherd, who will keep everyone together. Moshe Rabbeinu is worried. He is afraid. He is stressed out. In fact, it is interesting that this request for Moshe to Hashem is presented as Vaydaber Moshe el Hashem lemor. It sounds so familiar because it is so familiar, so similar to the pasuk that repeats itself hundreds of times throughout the Torah of Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe lemor. And God spoke to Moshe. But here it's the opposite. Vaydaber Moshe el Hashem lemor. Moshe is speaking to Hashem. Moshe is telling Hashem what to do. Hashem, you have to do this. Chazal or sages say that the shoresh daber ledaber is lashon kasha, is to speak harshly, strongly, in a commanding way, as opposed to lemor or omer, to say, alf mem resh, is to speak more softly, sensitively, more calmly. And here Moshe Rabbeinu is speaking to Hashem belashon kasha, in a strong, harsh language. And Hashem hears Moshe. Our sages say Moshe was also asking for his son to take over. Hashem responds that, no, your son will not take over, Moshe, but you're right, there needs to be a leader. And that leader will be Yehoshua. Kach lecha, as Yoshua ben Nun, take Yoshua, appoint him in the presence of the people, place your glory upon him. And Moshe Rabbeinu, we will take care of it. Don't worry. There will be a leader, people will listen to Yehoshua. But what's interesting is when Hashem responds to Moshe, it is Vayomer Hashem el Moshe. And Hashem spoke to Moshe, Vayomer Lashon Racha, in a soft, gentle, calm voice. The very next paragraph, which details the Karbanos, begins Vayedaber Hashem el Moshe lemor. Normally when Hashem speaks to Moshe, it's Vayedaber. He speaks strongly, clearly, forcefully. He's commanding Moshe. But here Hashem speaks to Moshe, Vayomer Hashem el Moshe. Hashem speaks to Moshe in a reassuring way, saying, Moshe, I understand why you are worried, but it is okay. There will be a plan. And there are so many issues here. The leadership transition between Moshe and Yoshua. But I'd like to focus just on that one aspect, that Moshe speaks harshly to Hashem, perhaps in a way that is not as respectful as it should be. And Hashem hears that, but Hashem understands why Moshe is speaking in that way, and Hashem, instead of responding strongly and questioning Moshe, Moshe, what do you think? Of course I have a plan. Moshe, what are you worried about? Do you think I'm not going to be able to take care of this? Moshe Rabbeinu, how dare you speak to me like this? Instead, Hashem responds b'lashon racha, in a soft, gentle, calm, reassuring, sensitive voice. Vayomer Hashem el Moshe kach lecha es Yoshua. And a lesson that we can learn from this, even if we are not dealing with great leadership transitions, crises of the community, but all the time people will speak to us in what at least seems to us in a lashon kasha, in a harsh voice, harsh language, harsh tone. They seem to be more abrupt than they need to be, using words that are stronger than are necessary, and perhaps we are taken aback. And we should emulate Hashem. We should pause. We should not mirror. We should not respond in kind. We should try to understand that there must be something driving the person, something that the person is worried about, something the person is afraid about, something the person just suffered, is hurt about. Sometimes we may be able to gain insight into what it is, but even if we can't, but to know there must be something going on here, and to respond calmly, but lashon racha, with a soft voice, always respond with a vayomer and not a vayedaber. And that is the way to prevent any more division or machlokas or hard feelings or people being upset. To speak in a peaceful, calm, sensitive voice, b'lashon vayomer, not vayedaber. Even when people speak to us harshly, to respond calmly and kindly. That is the way to increase peace between us and all of our friends and family members, to increase peace within the community, and that should be a merit to increase peace in the entire Jewish people and the entire world. Good Shabbos, everyone, and Shabbat Shalom.